This has been a terrific week to be a Democrat in the state for a whole variety of reasons, and at least three that I'm going to talk to you about. The first is that we finally overrode a veto of the New Jersey State Senate. A veto of a very simple bill. And the word simple must have been used 12.5 times during the debate on the floor of the Senate. This bill was requested by the New Jersey Administrative Office of the Courts. And all it says is when someone moves to expunge his or her mental health record due to a commitment in order to purchase a firearm, the courts requested that the police give them the information about this so that they can make a good judgment about the expungement. It's really pretty simple. It's like a page and a half, and one didn't have to be a lawyer in order to understand it. Christie vetoed that bill because he had told people in New Hampshire that there was never any new gun safety bill passed under his administration. So he had to veto this bill that was requested, as I said, by the courts. And finally, 3 Republicans who had voted for the bill stood up and cast their votes on behalf of the residents that they represent. The second victory, and not quite a victory, but baby step forward, because it's an issue that's been very close to my heart. I've been after the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey for well over 2 years now. And one of them is about a bus terminal where 220,000 people trips, 110,000 in the morning and 110,000 in the evening, go through that bus terminal. Places that affects a lot of, many of the constituents that I represent in eastern Bergen County, where we have no rail traffic, no rail ability to get into Manhattan. So everybody who works there has to take the bus. The fact that there was a bus terminal that was allowed to fall apart with leaky ceilings, disgusting bathrooms, long lines, the lines going up to the bus ramp. You take an escalator to get up there. Most of the time the escalator had to be turned off because the lines were going down through the escalator. Talk about something that affects the quality of life of people who have to do that 5 days a week and cannot get home in time to have a decent meal with their family or even pick their children up from childcare. Finally, there is a baby step forward to building a new bus terminal, probably in Manhattan, probably 1 block west of the current bus terminal. And it took 2 years to get these men, all due respect to Ed Selby and all the men in the room, that they are, the commissioners are all white men, as we say in quotes, to get these men to recognize that maybe we didn't need $4 billion worth of marble to build a train station in the World Trade Center, but we really need some money for the people who travel by bus. So that was the second victory. And the third kind of affects all of you in this room because it has something to do with a certain congressman that you all know by the name of Scott Garrett. I looked at Scott Garrett's last ELEC report, and I wrote a letter to each of the financial houses who had contributed to him that were listed on that ELEC report, and explained to them that these are companies that profit by the good residents in our state. Many of them are companies that get tax breaks because of the good residents of our state. And to contribute money to someone who is a bigot, and I can think of no better word to describe him, a bigot who wouldn't contribute to the leadership of his own party, because every so often they support a candidate who stands up for equality for everybody, including lesbian, gay, and bisexual people. And lo and behold, one of those companies actually responded to the press and said they were no longer going to contribute to Scott Garrett. That was this week's trifecta, as I say. It keeps me moving for next week. But I first want to say a word to thank the Sussex County Democrats. The people in this room are the backbone, the voice, the reason that people like Ed Selby and I have stayed in Democratic politics for so many years. And I've said this before because I've actually been out here to the boondocks a couple of times. Once, as I was reminded by Dave, I guess, when I ran for lieutenant governor with John Corzine. Another time when I came out to represent Cory Booker at your Sussex County Democratic Convention, and now this is my third time, I guess, coming out here, and I'll tell you the reasons why in just a moment. But I think I've said it each time, and let me accentuate it again. A Democratic vote from Sussex County for Josh Gottheimer, who is running against Scott Garrett for Congress, is equal to a Democratic vote from Democratic Teaneck or Democratic Fort Lee or any other place. Your vote in an election like that is equal to my vote and to votes in the more Democratic-rich areas. So they are important. And the work you're doing on behalf of all of us is important. And I know somebody described being a Democrat in Sussex, and your remarks can be a little lonely from time to time, but the fact that you have the kind of camaraderie and the kind of kinship and that you're able to come together into breaking bread on an evening like this is a good reason. And on behalf of Democrats all over the state, you don't get the respect and what is due you. I came also to say thank you to each and every one of you for hanging in there. I will get to Ed in a moment. But you've got two assembly candidates, Michael Grace. Where's Michael? Where's Michael? Is he here? Oh, okay, good. You have the perfect background for serving in the New Jersey State Legislature. You are certified NJSIAA wrestling referee. And when I go back and tell that to the leadership in the New Jersey Legislature, I'm sure they're going to welcome you. Because we can certainly use you. And to Jackie Staple. Where's Jackie? You know, you both bring a business background, and the fact that you're willing, again, to give people in this area a choice, I want to say thank you to the both of you for doing it, for helping to articulate the issues that have been talked about so eloquently here, and for carrying the banner of the Democratic Party. With all due respect to all of your predecessors, we're always happy to welcome another woman county leader. And now a couple of words about Ed Selby. Ed, it's 43 years ago that you and I were delegates to the Democratic National Convention, elected when we beat the organization that year, if I remember correctly, and I think I do, elected as George McGovern delegates. We were the wild-eyed, crazy liberals, and thank God there are still some of those folks walking around right here in this county. We did some silly things. we didn't know about TV, that you had to nominate a president in prime time. I believe we nominated, if I remember correctly, we nominated George McGovern at something like 3 o'clock in the morning when nobody was watching on TV anymore. And so we learned a lot of lessons by the mistakes we made. But one of the lessons we learned is that it's always worthwhile to speak up for what it is you believe in. And that was Ed Selby. And to hear how you've all spoken about him, I thought he was a little bit crazy when he moved to Sussex County. I mean, it was one of those places that I really had never been before. And it was like, why are you leaving Bergen to go there? But he's been, I would say that beside his own personal reasons and his family and the life he's enjoyed here, he served a purpose here in actually giving voice to a Democratic Party in Sussex County. And if I doubted my sanity of driving out here on a Sunday night, in the middle of a Giant game, and I don't know what the Giant, they didn't win? Okay, that's 4 things this week. Now that we know the Giants win. If I doubted my sanity for this hour-and-a-half trek out here, hearing all the things that all of you have said about Ed Selby makes me very humble and very proud that I came out here to participate. And on behalf of the state legislature, we do have a joint legislative resolution that was sponsored by my colleagues in the Assembly, Gordon Johnson and Valerie Huddle. And it talks about Dr. Edwin Selby, who served his country with honor and valor as a lieutenant in the United States Naval Reserve during the Vietnam War, earning the Air Medal. And then when he spoke as part of our anti-Vietnam War movement, people listened. That sentence is not in here, I just added that. As a graduate of Glassboro State College, Montclair State College, Malden University in Minnesota, Dr. Edwin Selby has enjoyed a long and exemplary career as a music and drama teacher, and it goes on. Whereas, as a result of his extraordinary understanding of issues and needs, and his uncommon degree of public spiritedness, Dr. Edwin C. Selby has served to inspire the participation and commitment of others and to infuse fellow members of democratic organizations with a spirit of unity and a determination to succeed. It is altogether proper and fitting for this legislature to recognize Dr. Edwin C. Selby and to salute him as an individual of outstanding character and exceptional determination. And now, as you know, the resolve clause is the most important. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate and General Assembly of the State of New Jersey that this legislature hereby honors and commends Dr. Edwin Selby, expresses the pride and gratitude of all New Jerseyans for his significant contributions to the welfare of this state and his home community, and extends best wishes for continued success. Ed?